BaccS comes with several invoice templates, and you can customize them by adding and deleting any fields you like. The Invoice Designer tool looks quite daunting when you open it the first time, but it's actually not hard to use once you know your way around it. So this video is to help you get familiar with it, from one beginner to another, so to speak. The first step is to choose a template, and you can do that by going to the settings icon up in the left-hand corner, and that'll call up your application settings. Under these settings, go to the Invoice tab, and here you can choose the template that you like from this menu drop-down menu here. The templates differ by layout, so choose the one you like best, the look of best, but the content is actually the same. I've chosen minimalistic. Then I go up to the ribbon and click on Invoice Template Designer. I can also get there by going to the Home tab and clicking on Invoice Template Editor here. So here we are in the Designer tool. It does look complex the first time you open it, doesn't it? Now the first thing you want to do is to rename this file so that you're not overwriting the template itself. So we'll go to File, Save As, and we'll give it another name. Okay, so now any changes we make, we'll make it to our own template. What you can see here are two different sorts of fields. One has got text inside square brackets, which means it comes from the database itself, and the other sort doesn't have square brackets, which means it's plain text. So that means you can change it by hand to anything you like. So let's make a start. I'm going to change the word biller to something else. I'm going to double click it, and I'm going to write issued by, because that's where my details come in. Okay, we can see how we're getting on at any stage by clicking on preview down here at the bottom. So this gives you an idea of what it looks like in real life, and you can enter details from a real invoice. Select any invoice that you've already created, click submit, and here we are with the data filled in. So here we are with issued by, that's already been changed, the customers I'm sending this invoice to, and over here some invoice number details, the date and term when it's due. I don't really want contract in there, so I'll take that out. What else? We've got project manager name by default. I probably will take that out. And I see that the PO number comes with its delivery date as well. And I might separate that out. Those are different sorts of things that you can tweak when you open it up and decide the actual details that you want to change. So now we'll go back to the designer. And I said that I wanted to delete the contract field. This is plain text. I'll just highlight it and then click delete. And it's field code that goes with it, contract number. I'm going to delete that. And any of these boxes you can just drag around the field to where you want to put it. There we are. Now I'd like to add my customer's VAT number. So that's not here at all at the moment. So let's have a look now to see how these field codes are structured. I'll click here. And when I click on a field that is inside some square brackets, you'll see over this side where it says field list, the field is actually highlighted. So I can see that this is the address. If I go up the path, it comes from a customer, which is fine. So in the customer list, if I go down it, I'm going to come to the VAT field, I expect. Address, down to VAT. So that's where I'm going to go to shortly. So if I come back here, I can actually insert it below here. So I'm going to make this a little bit smaller by dragging up this line here, because the customer address isn't quite that long. And then I'm going to copy this with Control-C, paste it, Control-V, and here it's come up in the middle of the screen, so I'll drag it down here. It's going to be one line long, so I'm going to actually bring it down here. And so I want this one to be the VAT number, so I'll click it here. Here it is in the address, but I'm going to go down to VAT on the right hand side, click and drag it over, and it will overwrite the customer address. And there we are with customer.vat. This will just be the series of numbers or figures or whatever that make up the VAT number, but I'd like to actually label it as VAT number. So to do that, you'll see that there's a little arrow here. If you click on it, it will give you the details of the whole of the box. And here I'm going to choose Format String. And here I'm going to give it a prefix, and I'm going to call it VAT number space. OK. Bring that in. And this has been prefixed with VAT number. We can see how we're getting on with that by clicking Preview and calling up the invoice. So here it is, the VAT prefix, the actual number itself. The contract has gone from here, so everything's fine up in the header now. So now I'm going to work on the actual content of the details of this different jobs. I've only got one job in this invoice, so I'm going to go back and change these two headings here. I'm going to change one click here. I'm going to change this. This is a plain text field again. It's just going to be PO number without the date. And another click here. This is going to be the delivery date. And at any stage, if you want to format this, the actual text size or the color of the background or anything, that's all over here on the bottom right hand corner where it says property grid. So this is where we would change the font. This is Times New Roman. I won't change that now, but that is where you would change those sort of things, the background color and so on. So here we've got the PO number, but of course down here, which is a list of all the jobs, you can see it says job details table. This one here is going to give me, until I change it, it's going to give me the PO number and the date, because that was how it was in the original template. So let's have a look at that one there, over on the right hand side, PO and date. Okay. So to get the PO on its own, I want to go up to Invoices, Invoice Details. I'm in the right place so far, but I want to go into Job. And under Job, I want to go down to the PO number. Here it is, PO number, on its own. So I can just drag that over and put it in there, and that will replace it. And the other one I wanted to change was this one. I didn't want the project manager name, I wanted the delivery date. So this one I'm going to have to change. And I'm going to have to go back into Invoices. That's not the customer, I don't want that. I want to go into Invoices, Invoice Detail, Job, and Delivery Date. So that's going to be down here, Delivery Date. And I'm going to drag it over and overwrite the one I've got there. There we are. Let's see how we're getting on. Preview. Add the invoice. And let's see what we've got. So we've got the PO number on its own, that's good. The delivery date is come along with the time in it, so I'll have to have a look at that. But otherwise it's beginning to look pretty well laid out for my needs. Back to the designer to get rid of the time. Okay, click on this. This is the box that we're dealing with. Going to go back into the details. And I want to go back into the Format String box. And at the moment it's under General, but if I make it into a date time format and just choose that, that should get rid of the time. Okay. Let's see if that solved that problem. Preview. Put in the invoice again. It would be nice if the invoice stayed here. There we are. Good, the time's gone, but now it needs to be aligned better, doesn't it? It's obviously aligned to the left in that cell, and I'd like it to be centered. So I think that's the last thing that I'm going to do, because all the rest looks fine. I've got my payment details. If there are none there, that would be blank. The little line at the end, thanks for using my services, well, that could be actually removed here. or it can be in your, let's get rid of it, submit it again, it's gone there, or it can be in your invoice settings. So let's go back to the designer and align that date. There, over to the fonts bit, and alignment is middle left, and I'm going to make it middle center. So you can't see the difference here, so we'll go back to the preview, look at it here, and submit, and that's been aligned properly. Okay, so now we'll go back to the designer window, and we'll go back and save the template with Control S. So the asterisk up here will disappear when I do Control S. There it is. I mean, of course, you can relabel all the plain text fields to localize your invoices in a different language. You can add other fields such as client reference number or a specific note to customize an invoice, your invoices even more. But anyway, I hope this has given you an idea of how simple it actually is to make minor changes to the default templates.